Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, we're going to get started. Thank you to all of the candidates for joining us for this forum hosted by the League of Women Voters of the Red River Valley and AARP of North Dakota. My name is Cady Rutter, and I will be your moderator for this Park Board Forum. The forum is being streamed live and will be recorded for playback on the City of Fargo's government PEG TV channel, TV Fargo 56. This recording will also be posted to our website and Facebook page. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can visit our website or Facebook page. Thank you to the City of Fargo for providing the space and technical assistance for this evening's event, and to all of our volunteers that are greeting and collecting your questions and timekeeping. We're so grateful for all of your help. I want to take a moment to highlight our 2026 voter guide that can be found at vote411.org. Here you can find your polling location and get personalized ballot information to compare the candidates who are seeking your vote. Before we get everything started, I'd like to review the rules and procedures. Questions have been submitted by the public in person here this evening. Questions may have been screened for clarity or combined with other similar questions. All candidates will be given an opportunity to address each question. Each candidate will have 1 minute for their opening statements. Each will then be allowed 1 minute to respond to each question. At the conclusion of the Q&A period, candidates will be given another minute for their closing remarks. Now, usually this is the part where I say a timer on the wall is going to indicate how much time you have remaining and when your time is done. However, the timer is on the fritz. So you're going to look to Carol back here, who is running our timer. She'll be, or Terry, you on it? Okay, you'll be looking at Terry. She's going to indicate when you have 15 seconds left. She's going to raise her hand, so that means you've got that left. And then she will hold the end of the timer, which will beep to indicate the end of your time. So when you hear the beep or beeps, that means your time has expired. Please complete your thought or sentence so that we can move on to the next candidate or the question. We'll appreciate the audience's consideration in maintaining a quiet room so that all candidates have their opportunity to answer the questions in a full and timely manner. So without further ado, we'll start with opening statements, and we'll start down here with Zonderbina.
I'm a rookie. Thank you for this opportunity, and I, as a longtime Fargo resident and parks enthusiast, I really feel a calling to give back to something that has created so many opportunities for me in terms of the parks and so many connections. And, you know, when I travel, I brag about Fargo and how great of a city it is. And a lot of what I brag about has to do with the quality of life opportunities that we have here, many times related to the Park District. And so it spans between youth all the way to senior citizens, and it's such an important function of our government. As a longtime participant, and I won't bore you with all the things I like to participate in that have to do with Fargo Parks, but as a longtime participant, I feel like I'm qualified to definitely be an asset to the board. I have some priorities. One is to listen to public input and make decisions based on, clearly on data. And from there, time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Vicki Dawson.
Hi, my name is Vicki Dawson. I'm the current Park Board President. I was elected in 2018 and then re-elected in 2022. My husband Steve and I lived near Lindenwood Park, where we raised our family. And my son Ben will graduate from Mayville State next week, and our son Nick works and lives here in Fargo. My 3 adult stepsons are also raising their families here, which has blessed me with 11 grandchildren, ages 2 weeks to 8 years old. And I originally arrived here to attend college, and that's where my experience with Fargo Park started, when I played co-ed and women's softball and would ride my bike through the parks. And living in an apartment, I would take advantage of having a place to get outside and be in the nature since I didn't have a yard. I've been involved in the community as an elementary religion teacher, a confirmation teacher, a youth volunteer soccer coach, Fargo Park's T-ball coach, Babe Ruth baseball coach, and then also served as the president of the Clara Barton Hawthorne PTA, the Northern Region Association of Safety Professionals, and then the Fargo Youth Hockey Association.
Thank you. Joe Deutsch.
Thank you. My name is Joe Deutsch. Born and raised here in Fargo. Grew up on the north side. Rode my bike over to El Zagle to golf, hauling my golf clubs on the back of the bike. I used to ride my bike along the river trail to go back and play baseball at Michelson. So I grew up in Fargo. Came back and after college and taught at Madison Elementary School in North Fargo for 4 years, physical education, and had the opportunity to really work with the neighborhood, work with the school, work with the kids, most importantly, and give them some opportunities. I spent the last 20 years on the park board. I've been a professor at NDSU in physical education, recreation, so it is my life. And I'm excited to be back and to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex Nisbet.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Nesbitt. I want to start off by saying thank you to the League of Women Voters of the Red River Valley for putting this on. It's been a lot of fun so far. I'm excited to answer some questions tonight. A little bit about myself. I'm a proud 2004 Fargo North graduate. Go Spartans. I'm a husband and a father to a young daughter. I know firsthand the importance of a high-quality park system. We take our daughter and our golden retriever to the local park as frequently as possible, sports center complex, trails, golf courses, everything. We try to use it as much as possible. As a kid, my brothers and I, we used every single thing we could get our hands on. So I'm really passionate about it. Professionally, I went to undergrad law school at UND in Grand Forks. I worked at a mid-sized law firm for several years, and I'm now at Excel Energy, where I focus on long-range planning, complex infrastructure issues, and public accountability. I feel like I have a lot of skills and tools that would be a great fit here. Park Board's doing a lot of really good stuff, and I want to champion the best things and continue to move it forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrei Nashevsky.
Hi, my name is Andrzej Naszewski. I came to Fargo about 20 years ago to NDSU, where I finished my PhD, and about that time I developed a strong passion for running. And I'm about 12 years at this point Fargo resident, and I can say I'm running for Fargo Park Board because from the perspective of regular daily Fargo Park user, my wife and I, we enjoy our daily walks. I run at least 3 times a week. I bike, I do cross-country skiing, so basically everything related to outdoors. From professional point of view, I'm a biologist. I studied invasive species at University of Minnesota, and I think that combination of personal experiences as far as a Fargo Parks user and also professional perspective as far as a biologist, I think so positions me in a quite unique perspective among other candidates and current Fargo Board members. I would like to focus my attention or bring the attention to daily Fargo Park maintenance, long-time stewardship, and connectivity among the different parks in Fargo. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler Sand.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters and to the AARP for hosting tonight's important event. My name is Tyler Sand, and I'm running for the Fargo Park Board because I believe that our parks should work better for everyone. I grew up in Jamestown and graduated from the University of Jamestown with degrees in computer science and business administration. I've lived in Fargo for most of my adult life, aside from several years in Florida, which gave me a lot of ideas and perspectives on opportunities that we could employ here in the city of Fargo. Today, I'm a small business owner and a software consultant. My work involves listening to people, asking thoughtful questions, and finding practical solutions to complex problems. I want to bring that same mindset to the Park Board, listening to residents, encouraging collaboration, and making decisions that strengthen our community for everyone. I love our parks, and I use them often. Whether it's trails, dog parks, curling, or spending time outdoors, our park system plays an important role in the quality of life for everyone in Fargo. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily C. Cormay.
Good evening. My name is Emily C. Cormay. I was born and raised here in Fargo, and after Building my career, I chose to move back and raise my own family here because I believe in this community and the future we're building. Professionally, I spent 15 years as an attorney in focusing on governance, risk management, and oversight, helping organizations make thoughtful, responsible decisions, and ensuring that our systems continue to work for the people they're intended to serve. I also bring 5 years of direct board experience, serving for the last 5 years on the board of directors of Solera, formerly known as the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center here in Fargo. And through that board experience, I've really learned the importance of the board's role in setting strong governance, accountability, and public trust. Fargo Parks is generally in a really good state, and at the same time we're growing, and with that brings responsibility. I'm running for Fargo Park Board because I want to help ensure we build on what's working, listen intentionally, and make decisions that serve our community. Really looking forward to this opportunity and the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your opening statements. We'll move on to questions. Sandra, since we began with you, we'll move down to Vicki. You'll start this question, and then we'll go each down the line. If elected, how do you intend to integrate Fargo Park's core values? Be bold, be authentic, be collaborative to enhance our community.
Well, as a current commissioner, hopefully I'm already doing those things. And I'm looking at the people who came up with those great words who are smiling back at me. So this is great. Our staff has done a wonderful job helping identify who we are. So some of the ways that I will continue to do that is through community involvement and community engagement. It's probably one of the number one things we've really gotten our arms wrapped around and really built upon over the last probably 5 or 6 years. Reaching out to the community, asking what they want, whether it's a neighborhood playground or the Island Park pool or the Yunker Farm Master Plan has been crucial to our success, because if we're doing things that we think you guys want versus what you tell us you want, it's not going to work. So we need the feedback from the community. We need the input from the community in order for us to be bold and be collaborative, in order for Fargo Parks to be successful.
Thank you. Joe Deutsch.
I'm probably going to say this a lot, but I agree with that, what Vicki said. Obviously, as a board member myself, yes, having our staff put together as a group with the board as well. Such a great statement. Community engagement, as Vicki said, is something we've really focused on lately. Obviously, doing surveys from the community. A perfect example would be that at Island Park Pool. We surveyed the actual residents in that area and realized that the water slides we were going to put in, instead of using the traditional colors that would be in a water slide, we put more nature colors that blended in with the trees more to keep the ambience of Island Park what it is. So perfect example of we're being collaborative and bold. But the one thing that we need to do is we need to work with the city and the school system so that we don't duplicate our efforts. That's working collaboratively.
Thank you. Alex Nesbitt.
There's 28 years of park board experience right next to me, so I'm probably not going to tell them better than they just did it. But I think those values are excellent. I've sat in on several park board meetings, and I love how tailored some of the different parks are, the amount of engagement and input that they get. I'm used to maybe a notice requirement just being putting something in a newspaper, but when you're actually going out and getting real input from people, that's an amazing way to tailor it to what they want and how they're using it. I think so much for me just personally, back to my high school days, what I used then, the skating rinks, and just how they're maybe a little bit better tailoring now to pickleball courts or some of these things, or just more inclusive different spaces. So I think the flexibility, the changing with the times, the authenticity, tailoring it to different communities, having kids talk with their parents about how they want to answer survey questions. I think all that stuff is amazing, and I would be interested in finding new additional ways to keep fostering that engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrei Nashevsky.
From my perspective, when I see those big words, let's say, community engagement, I actually bring this back to my everyday experience of the Fargo Park user. Fargo Park user asked me why we can't groom our trails during winter when Moorhead did it before, why our lawns are not maintained properly, why we can't cut the grass in our orchard when the time to pick up apples came. So in a way, we use a lot of big words, but I would rather go and involve our park in actually park maintenance, like I said, either short-term maintenance or long-term maintenance. And this was something really what I noticed, again, during my walks or runs, and I have a conversation with other park members. So instead of using large, big words, which sounds very well, I really would like to bring Fargo parks to the point when we can maintain our parks well. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler Sand?
Thank you. I think those are three great values that we definitely need to ensure that we continue to focus on. I think when we talk about authenticity, I think that means that we need to be authentic with ourselves, and as elected leaders, we need to be authentic to make sure that we're representing the needs and the wants of the community. I think to do that, we're going to need to continue to make some bold changes in the park district. We've made some bold investments with building things like the sports center in our community and ensuring that those opportunities exist for the people that live here. I think all that takes collaboration, though, where we're going to need to work more closely with other governmental entities, City of Fargo, MatBus, organizations like that, to ensure that the services that we have are accessible to everybody, and it's not just something that the park district can solve on their own, but is something that we're going to have to work together with other people and other parts of the community to solve. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily C. Gourmet?
So when I think about being bold, I think what is really exciting about the opportunities in front of us when we are in a position of such tremendous growth here in Fargo is having the opportunity to step back and rethink some of the way we've always done things. Get that fresh perspective, some creativity, and some opportunities to reimagine existing spaces and reimagine existing programs. Growth doesn't necessarily mean creating new things all the time. We have really great programs, really great spaces that we can invest. And those investments can be mitigated from the bottom line perspective if we continue to increase the processes by which local organizations and local individuals can partner with Parks Board to bring their ideas, bring their solutions forward, and we can help support that in a way that we can benefit those mutually beneficial objectives without hitting the bottom line on Fargo Parks, but nonetheless expanding the offerings and programs that we get to provide. And authenticity, I think that comes down to transparency and ensuring that we stick to things like our master plan.
Thank you. Zandra Bina?
I do that every time. I really like what everybody has said. I think it really encapsulates the idea that the Fargo Park Board and Park District has been very bold. I remember a time when I was looking south on 45th Street and 32nd Avenue, and it was a dirt road. And the idea that Fargo has developed the sports center, the Fargo, added to the Island Park pool, and created spaces and facilities that are cutting edge and regionally attractive. I think it makes, it's an economic impact issue at that point, and people love to be here because of facilities like that. In addition, I think being authentic, I think a good example was the Broadway Station issue. The Park District, compliments to these guys sitting next to me, the board listened to the feedback of people and made a different decision and kept that Broadway station going. Thank you.
Thank you. Your comments feed into our next question perfectly, and it's a concern of multiple people in the room because we have 3 questions about it. Joe, this one is going to you first. As you know, Broadway Station has been in the news lately. How would you have voted in respect to the lease renewal? The current lease is 3 years. And what should the future of the Broadway Senior Center be and the people they serve?
Thank you. That's a great question. Yes, I obviously would have supported it. I did support it, but I also actually wanted to do it for 5 years because I don't see a different solution in the 3 years. Obviously, this was a situation we heard, we went up, we experienced. I was born and raised across the street from the location that it's at right now, and I got to talk to a lot of the seniors that I grew up with as parents, teachers, whatever. And we heard them. Right now, that's a space where they can play cards, where they can eat, where they can gather. and look at solutions potentially for the future as far as a community center or something in that realm. But regardless, I've fully supported that project, and I would do it again right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex Nesbitt.
Thank you. I followed that one on the news, and I also would have voted yes for it. You think about third spaces for people of any age, how important that is, a place that they can go outside of work and home, where they can feel like a community, a place where everybody knows their name. If that would have been lost, they would have had to go to a different facility. Who knows what the travel arrangements would have been like. That would have been very, very difficult. One of the pillars of my platform is long-term planning. So I think the 3-year out lease extension, that's good. Longer term, you need to look at a space where they could still fit those programs and maybe have other multi-uses as well. But it's unbelievably important to them, and I'm glad it's been extended. And I think that that's just where long-term maybe need to find other multi-use facilities in North Fargo would be a good idea, where that would also fit. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrei Nishevsky.
As far as that issue, I greatly respect our elderly. However, I think that the mission of Fargo Parks is getting a little bit too broad. I believe so that locally we have charity organizations, non-profits who would greatly and much better will be able to help our elderly. And actually, I would like to Fargo Parks to be more focused on actually the true mission as far as, again, green spaces, eventually sports centers. I think so there's a little bit too much overlap with as far as the mission of the Fargo Parks with the, like I said, our charity organizations. And this is an example that too much extending of the mission can actually create problems as we actually face right now. So again, we should, I would say, narrow a little bit more focus of the Fargo Parks to, I would say, the core mission of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler Sand.
100% yes, I would have supported extending the lease. Valley Senior Services is a really important part of our community, providing recreational opportunities for seniors. We need to ensure that we're providing the same sorts of opportunities for people of all ages, whether it's seniors, children, young adults, everybody in between. This is, the Valley Senior Services has a separate budget from the Fargo Park District, and that's how the money is spent. They have nearly $6 million in reserves to be spending. I think my issue with the whole Broadway station situation is that 11 years ago, the Fargo Park District signed a lease for Broadway Station, and it wasn't until the end of the 10-year lease when they said, well, what should we do? What is the long-term solution for this? So then a year was taken to conduct a study, and then the board voted to extend the lease for 3 years. In 3 years, we're not going to have a long-term solution, and so it should have been extended longer so that we can find a viable solution for North Fargo residents.
Thank you. Emily C. Gourmet.
The Broadway Square scenario is a really good example of a couple things. I think one is inevitably there's going to be missteps along the way, and even with the best intentions of making sure we're collaborating and connecting with our community, I think there were some missteps and some opportunities to correct some assumptions about the objective of that community center. When we think about what recreation means in park and recreation, that means more than just sports. And I'm fortunate to share this community with my parents, who are senior citizens, and a wealth of their friends who have been my family all growing up. And it is really important to remember as I go forward in serving our community that we need to serve everybody from my 6-year-old son and daughter through my parents and on. And it also really is an additional opportunity to think about that reimagining existing space and reassessing our objectives. Just because a certain building has served a certain function for several years doesn't mean it just needs to continue and that we're continually assessing against that objective. Let's reassess and ask ourselves, what is our objective for this sector of our community and how can we better serve them?
Thank you. Sandra Bina.
Yes, thank you, Emily. That was really well said. And, from the standpoint of how I would have voted yes to extend it. I think the master plan that the Fargo Park District has and has been working on is going to help prevent some of those issues in the future, hopefully, because they're taking data from the public and input, making sure that, you have a plan for something like that. I think on the north side, it is a little bit more built out. It's a little bit more difficult to find open land to do something, but we have to be careful with capital expenditure. We have to make sure that we partner with businesses and all kinds of organizations to find spaces that work. My 90-year-old dad drives 20 miles one way to go play whist. And I appreciate the fact that there are spaces in a town like Fargo that are close in neighborhoods to be able to serve that community, serve that constituency.
Thank you. Vicki Dawson?
So I did vote to keep the Broadway station open, and I would obviously continue to do so. The process regarding Broadway station worked. So when we realized, hey, our lease was going to change, the value, the dollar amount they were going to charge was going to change, we started looking at what are our options. Because rather than just saying, you know what, we'll just pay more, let's see, is there another place to be? Who's using this space? What do they use it for? And what happens if we move them to somewhere else or we just close this place? So through the community input, through people coming to us, Joe and I and the rest of the board, as well as the staff, heard those conversations, listened to what people had to say, and realized this is more than just a meal site to people. This is a community for people. And so by extending the lease by 3 years, that gives us time to decide, is there somewhere else we can be? Can we build a community center? Can we move somewhere where there might be a better option for us? But we're not jumping every couple of years because we didn't like where we were in Broadway Station. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will go to you, Alex, first. What experience have you had in strategic planning so that a comprehensive plan is developed for the community through parks?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. So I work for Xcel Energy, provides natural gas and electricity to the vast majority of Fargo. We're always doing 5-year and 15-year integrated resource plannings. It takes 5, 10, 15 years to get a lot of infrastructure built out. So you're always trying to look ahead at that, and you're always trying to look at costs associated with it. In my line of work, you're always caring about reliability and affordability. I sort of see it in the same way with the park system building out here. You want to make sure that you're keeping things affordable, and reliability in this context means, are people using it? Is everything working effectively? Is the entire system holistically coming up at the same time? Are the small parks, the big parks, everything else like that, they're not getting out of whack? You need to maintain all your existing infrastructure, all the maintenance work. You want to make sure that nobody's left behind. So I think my background at Xcel Energy is a perfect fit for it. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrei Nashevsky.
So I'm a scientist. I've been a scientist for most of my life, as far as I remember. As a scientist, I like details because those are necessary to perform my experiments from day to day. However, when I apply for a grant, grants are from, let's say, 1 year to 5 years, let's say. So in a way, I know how to manage details, how to perform work well, but at the same time, provide proposals or grant projects which are long-term. And this balance of details and long-term planning, again, I think so it's really necessary to properly maintain our parks. Many times you think that throwing more money at the problem will create a solution for the problem. Most of the time my experience taught me that, well, the God is hidden in the details. Some people say devil hidden in the details. You see, we can spend as much as money we can. However, without the good, proper work, we'll never achieve our goals. So again, that scientific, detail-oriented, and long-term planning, that's something what I do every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler Sand.
As I said earlier, I'm a small business owner and I operate a software consulting business. As in that capacity, I need to be strategic for my own business to make sure that it continues to succeed, that it's successful, that we find customers and that we deliver great solutions. As a consultant, I'm helping other companies who have entrusted me to implement those sort of same strategies for their own businesses. I think that when we look at coming up with our strategies, I think the master plan for the Fargo Park District is a great thing to have in place to sort of guide the direction that we're going. Obviously, we've got short-term decisions that need to be made now, and we need to have a good vision for where we're going in the long term. I think that and while being respectful to the cost of what that's gonna be. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily Secor May.
I built my career around strategic planning, working for large companies, looking at risk analyses and whether our systems continue to operate for the people we serve. Even more relevant has been my privilege serving on the board of directors for Solera, which again, formerly Rape and Abuse Crisis Center. I've been on the board for 5 years, and it's been a really tremendously important time to be a board member of that organization because, like many organizations in Fargo, we were facing this challenge of continuing to reach the evolving and growing community. And we had, as a board, to really sit down and ask ourselves the tough question of, are we continuing to meet the community's needs? And in some ways, the answer was no. We were holding the line. We were serving every single person coming through the doors of our agency, but we knew there was a great deal of people in our community who weren't being served and needed our services. And so that led to a couple really critical things that the board supported, which was a name change for the organization because we identified that it was creating barriers, and then we needed a new facility and to grow our programs and spaces.
Thank you. Sandra Bina.
I did read the current strategic plan that the Fargo Park District has put out, and I think it's really well done. If you haven't looked at it, take a look at it. It includes everything from accessibility to inclusion, their mission, and how they're going to execute and operate on a daily basis. And, as far as that goes, I think of a strategic plan as how are you going to reach your goals? How are you going to serve the people, your constituents? For experience, I was a college volleyball coach and helped transition NDSU from Division II to Division I. And that plan included, how are you going to recruit? How are you going to, what facility needs do you have? What does your staffing look like? From the nuts and bolts, every single thing about leading to a successful program, happy people that are in the program and serving and winning. So I think of it in the same way.
Thank you. Vicki Dawson.
Zandra, I'm hiring you as my campaign manager because you just set me up perfectly by saying that we have a very good strategic plan, which we developed while Joe and I were both on the board, along with our staff, and it is encompassing all those aspects of accessibility and inclusion and our daily operations. We are currently working on a Fargo Park System master plan that covers the entire park district, and that will help guide us well into the future. It has long-range plans, it has short-term goals, it covers everything from how are we serving the youth in our community to how are we serving the aging adults. Where might we be underserving people? Where can we be doing better? Which neighborhood might have an adequate park, and which areas do we need to connect places? It also helps guide us by how old are our buildings, how old is the HVAC system, where might we need to be looking at how we're spending and planning to maintain and care for the existing things we have in our parks.
Thank you. Joe Deutsch.
Well, I'm not going to repeat all that amazing stuff Vicki just said, but I will add on to that then on top of our park system master plan system for overall, we also have a very specific one for Yunker Farm. We also have a very specific one for Island Park because of the size and breadth of them. In the process of my 20 years on the board, this city has grown threefold. And so in the process of growing, it's very important through this master planning process that we make sure that we take care of what's inside. An example that I'll give is the Northside Softball Complex. By building the Northside Softball Complex, we took softball out of the neighborhoods and turned those neighborhoods back into neighborhood parks and baseball, softball, soccer fields for the youth. So it's important as we continue to grow and expand that we also can take care of that interior and make our park system what it should be for the community of all ages.
Thank you. Andre, this question is coming to you first. I'm going to combine a couple of questions that pertain to expanded amenities and spaces. What are your thoughts on providing more activity areas and new spaces? A couple of the areas that have been referenced are downtown Fargo, such as pickleball, horseshoe pits, volleyball, and then a new senior center or multi-generation center in North Fargo as a few examples.
So again, from my perspective, I think we should slow down with the expansion and we can think about expanding to more areas or spaces, and first we should maintain what we have. I already experienced many times areas which we have, which literally went down the hill because they were not maintained. I've seen major capital money spent on some parks, Forest River, for example, which right now you can go there and there are weeds growing over you when you sit on a bench. So in a sense, we do think about expanding, there's nothing wrong about it, but at the same time, take a step back and maintain what we have. And at the same time, when we do that, I think so those places for community engagement will basically create themselves. So again, refocus our attention as far as the parks to maintain what we have well, and everything else as far as the goals of the parks will fix itself. When places are maintained properly, they are clean, they become safe, people want to be there, community can get together at the same time. So in a way, again, go back to basics and start mowing grass. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler Sand.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely think that we need to do a better job of ensuring that all the parts of our community have access to equitable services. I think, downtown, downtown has access to some really great parks, such as, Island Park and the new swimming pool there. I'm glad that I don't live there as a dog owner, though, because I don't know where I would take my dog to outside. There's a lack of green space. I think that we need to, and this requires coordination with the city, but I think that we need to coordinate with the city so that as development continues to happen in downtown Fargo, that development is, just like in new neighborhoods being built in South Fargo, is required to incorporate green space, is required to incorporate playgrounds and recreational spaces. I think the same thing can be said about North Fargo. I definitely support a senior center there, but beyond that, ensuring that we have access to indoor recreational opportunities in the long winters. It's a long 25-minute drive from North Fargo down to the sports complex, and I'd like to see that improve.
Thank you. Emily C. Cormay.
I think it's critical that we continue to refocus and put some love into downtown. It's a significant opportunity to reinvest our efforts and energy into a part of Fargo that is already such a core part of our community and that is beloved by our community. It also is really exciting. There has been a lot of advancements in downtown development, a lot through private developers and companies and nonprofit organizations who are putting on programs and spaces that are critical to the enjoyment and the competitiveness that it gives Fargo when we think about how do we compete with other mid-sized cities and really make sure that we are the standout mid-sized city in our region. For senior and multi-generational, a lot of what I hear from people I talk with in the community are teens and our aging adults are two of anecdotally that feel like they are the least represented in our programs and spaces. So I think that would be a tremendous asset.
Thank you. Sandra Bina.
Yes, I think, I'm not supportive of a lot of capital expenditures just until you get down the road with the sports center and, paying for all the new capital expenditures that we have had. But however, I think partnerships and having eyes wide open to facilities that open up, businesses that close downtown, for example, or an old warehouse, are there opportunities to put a couple pickleball courts in there indoor, or is there an opportunity to expand, and have a senior center downtown in one of those businesses? The other thing I would say is, as far as expansion, I used to live in Sioux Falls for a minute, and they had a bike trail all around the city. Now, the Park District has done a great job of connecting a lot of trails, but I would love to see a marked trail that's like 20 miles around north to south, east to west of Fargo, and I think it can be done with signage. Thank you.
Thank you. Vicki Dawson?
I'm not sure which angle to take this, but I think I'll start with the aging adults and seniors. It's one of our fastest groups of the population, all those baby boomers, and we're seeing a different kind of senior. We're seeing a very active senior. We're seeing seniors that will be seniors for decades, and they're not, necessarily just wanting to quilt or wanting to socialize. They want to be active. They want to do pickleball. They want to do the Pilates that we offer. They want to do different things. And then they also want the space to gather. So right now we offer sail classes at the sports center, and afterwards there's always a group of people who gather. That's their social time. So I think that's a big part of it. As far as we're going too fast or going too slow, as the city grows, we have to keep up pace so that our new neighborhoods have those amenities like the park, like the trails, because we can't build them after all of that land is developed. So that's a collaboration with those groups as well.
Thank you. Joe Deutsch?
Yep, I'll say again, I agree with what Vicki said, is how we've followed this. I think it's important to recognize when we're looking at downtown, to a certain extent, we have some landlocked situations, and so we got to be open to partnerships. When Mike Olbedinger came to us with the idea of Broadway Square and a public-private partnership there, we thought about something like that, but not necessarily in that space, not under those circumstances. And obviously, Broadway Square is a great opportunity for downtown Fargo. The market comes there. I mean, lots of things outside of that give those opportunities. But as Vicki said, we need to continue to, as the city's growing, make sure that we get those pieces in place, like playgrounds into a neighborhood before the houses go in, because that's what's going to be what's best for the community. It's going to help sell houses, and everybody wins in the process.
Thank you. Alex Nesbitt?
One of the most exciting parts about being on the campaign trail is meeting with people face to face. One day I was out getting signatures with my dad, and I probably talked to 60 people, and I got 60 different answers as far as what people wanted to see. There's a finite amount of resources on this. You want to raise the mill levy. So I think what the Park District is doing and the Park Board is doing as far as looking at usage, data-driven aspects of it, repurposing money away from skating rinks, things like that, or getting a little bit more granular with user fees. I think that would be something that would be really important, and you could maybe move it to different other facilities, multi-usage for seniors. I completely agree. I never know what to call. My parents are in their 70s. I don't know what the correct term for them is, but that's something that I always think about as a space for them, because they're very active. They love seeing my grandkids and just hang out, getting more social. So I think something like that for similarly situated people in North Fargo is super important. Downtown, got to focus on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more question because we still need to have time for closing statements as well. But we had a lot of questions tonight. So if you did not get your question asked tonight, I encourage you to reach out to the candidates. You are their potential constituents and they want to hear from you. So make sure you take time to connect with them. So we'll start with Tyler for the last question. What existing park assets are we currently underutilizing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, a lot of that comes down to accessibility. I think we have a lot of great parks and facilities in our community, and not everyone is able to use them. I think that we have, barriers in place today, whether that's physical barriers, the lack of accessible playground equipment. We can make the parks better there. Lack of accessible parking in some cases. Gates across pathways. We've got financial barriers that are preventing families from being able to fully utilize the parks that we have. And also transportation barriers that prevent a lot of people from using them. These are all assets that people need to be able to get to and access in order to use them. The closest bus stop to the new sports center is a mile away. And so it's not an option for a lot of people for people who don't drive to get there and to use those facilities. I think we have great parks, great facilities in this community. I want them to be able to use by their full potential, though, by every Fargo resident. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily C. Cormay.
I think the greatest opportunity we have is for our trails and open spaces and what I call unscheduled events. I think Fargo Parks does a tremendous job organizing and managing programs for scheduled events. But like I said before, recreation does not just mean sports. And for the majority of people in our community, those unscheduled events and open spaces for trails, for biking, walking, cross-country skiing, they're critical to that same sense of belonging that can be created when our community feels like they've got those spaces that reflect who they are. And I think, we have established some great partnerships with groups like FM Trail Builders, who have breathed new life into the wooded areas, have breathed new life into the trails. It's exciting to see my young kids get out there on those dirt trails, and they're falling less than I am. But to have those open opportunities and to make sure that we are continuing to reinvest in those unscheduled events and spaces other than facilities, I think is going to be our opportunity.
Thank you. Zandra.
I think that the parks serve the wellness wheel, and that's everything from spiritual to physical to mental, emotional, and social. And so the events that are created, even more events for youth outside of just fitness, more events for seniors, everybody, working professionals outside of just fitness, I think is an opportunity. I was in Winnipeg this winter, and I don't know if this is possible, so I'm just going to throw it out there. Using the river or along the river, maybe even Yonker Farm, to create a skating trail. I know there's one in the cities, and in Winnipeg they had a skating trail. Everybody's just skating along for miles, and it was really cool to see. So that might be an opportunity as well. The walkabout that the Fargo Park District has, more events like that, I think, in every part of the city would be good.
Thank you. Vicki Dawson.
Well, in some instances, I would say we are stuffed full. We had to add to the Fargo Park Sports Center parking lot because we didn't have enough parking spaces because so many people were going there to watch children, watch grandchildren, participate themselves, take their families there. Our golf courses are full, our pools are full, our rinks are full, our courts are full. So people are using our spaces. We are very well utilizing the spaces we have. The thing that I think we could do better at is time. More pop-up events, more simple events. Our staff has worked really hard with creating events that are just gatherings, and whether it's music, whether it's in arts and crafts, whether it's holding sewing classes. I mean, we have a lot of new events that are going on and things that are going on, but that's something that I think we can continue to do better and add more to. And then just continuing to work with our partners, whether it's the community gardens or the trail builders or all those groups that can help us be that much better together.
Thank you. Joe Deutsch.
Thank you. Yes, we definitely utilize all of our spaces quite a bit. As Vicki said, the sports center is full, the golf courses are full. But there are times that we do, as we're master planning, we're looking at all of our spaces, and identified Yonker Farm's been a part of our spaces in North Fargo forever. We just hadn't really utilized that space properly. So we've put a master plan together there. Obviously, it's coming in phases. We've taken the house and renovated that so far. Put a dog park on the north end, and so there's plenty of opportunities sometimes to look at different spaces that we have and figure out how we can better utilize them, everything. But for the most part, I think we're doing a pretty good job of it.
Thank you. Alex Nesbitt.
A lot of things I'd like to talk about. I'll focus on two, though. The first one being one of the most fun and interesting parts of running for this is that it's given me a good excuse to meet a lot more people in my community, in my neighborhood. My golden retriever, Lily, and my daughter and I, we go on walks frequently. Every time I'll see anybody, I'll talk to them. And one thing that's commonly been brought up is if we had a little bit more connection with each other. I know my neighbors' names, but outside of that, I don't know them. If we could have maybe a little bit more cohesion, usage, or sort of those pop-up events, something like that at the local park. I think that would be an amazing way to sort of break down some of the barriers that we're constantly experiencing in our busy life. So that'd be the first one. Second one would be the FM diversion. I know the MetroCog studied that as far as a regional greenway system. That might be a little bit of a moonshot, but it's something that it's kind of a once-in-a-generation opportunity. If you bring Fargo, West Fargo, Moorhead, Horace, everybody together, you've got an amazing opportunity there for a natural and recreational space. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrzej Naszewski.
I think one of the key assets of our parks is fresh air. Yes, I do appreciate building new sports center. However, you cannot experience beauty of the nature, native species, and openness and a fresh air and a sunset, especially now, a little bit late in May. But the point is that, I would focus on our largest park, like I said, basin of the Red River. Again, we talk about accessibility. When our trails are not snow plowed on time, when there are cracks on the sidewalks, when there are puddles of waters after rain or in early spring, those places become non-accessible to all of us. I wouldn't necessarily focus on creating opportunities for events. Again, proper maintenance will allow people to organically create those events by themselves. So I don't necessarily think that we have to push into that direction. So again, our largest asset is our beauty of our nature, bring more native species, take care of our, areas of the Red River, and many other issues will fix itself. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the question and answer portion of this forum. Thank you to all of our candidates for participating tonight. Again, if you'd like to continue learning more about your candidates, you can visit vote411.org to help you learn more about their positions on important issues. Emily will begin with your closing remarks.
I want to start by thanking the Women League of Voters for hosting this forum. It's a tremendous opportunity for our residents to get to know each of the candidates, so thank you very much. Fargo Parks spaces and programs are where community happens. They're where people connect, where barriers are reduced, and where health and well-being are supported. Because of that, they deserve careful stewardship. Being on the board is not about personal agendas. It's about oversight, strategy, and responsibility. It's about listening to the community in meaningful ways, using data and long-term planning to guide decisions, and making sure we're responsive without being reactive. If elected, I will bring a steady, informed voice, grounded in governance experience, committed to fiscal responsibility, and focused on setting the district up for sustainable success. I'm ready to listen, do the work, and to help ensure Fargo Parks is set up for sustainable success into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Zonderbina.
I have experience helping to build cohesive teams and, and helping to build quality relationships. And I would look forward to serving on the board with those qualities. I think they're good attributes. I look forward to working with quality leaders in the Park District and including the rest of the board on the master plan and making sure that we're fiscally responsible. It's inspiring to see the additions that the Park District has had recently. I was at the Fargo Sports Center a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed the SAIL group, and I said, how many people are here? 89 seniors were there doing the senior programming that they had. And what was so cool about that, it was like, you know what? I remember a quote, if you build it, they will come, and it's a field of dreams in many ways. And so I would, if chosen, be a positive leader and collaborate with and build relationships to create those partnerships that we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Vicki Dawson.
I love Fargo Parks. I love this community, and I've made this place my home. I want everyone else to have the same opportunities that my family and I have had by utilizing the Fargo Parks. And during my 8 years on the board, the staff and the rest of the board and I have made great progress. We've set up the Park District for long-term success. We've made a lot of accomplishments in that time, the Yunker Farm Master Plan, the Island Park Master Plan, the Island Park Pool, the Fargo Park Sports Center, replacing playgrounds that now have accessible features, additional outdoor pickleball courts, long-range planning, capital improvement planning. And for the next 4 years, if re-elected, I will continue to be a voice for the residents of Fargo. I will continue to seek input from the community, and I will continue to listen and value the concerns and ideas of our residents. I respectfully ask for your vote for Vicki Dawson on June 9th. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Deutsch?
On a Saturday in February, you can walk into a building in Fargo now and see 8 courts of volleyball or basketball going on. You can see an entire soccer field full of baseball, soccer, all kinds of things. You can see an entire community of people walking on a track up top. You can play on 6 different pickleball courts. You can see 2 different sheets of ice of hockey going on. It's amazing with our weather and our community that we have that resource now. We're very proud of that. I've spent 20 years on the board. It is my life, right? I'm a professor of physical education, recreation. My students go out and become recreation people. I help them be a part of the park district, and I'm just excited to continue on if the voters will have me. And I believe that the most important thing is I am a representative of the citizens. They elect me. I want to be their voice, and I want them to communicate through me, and so I can communicate and help them be successful in this amazing community. And as Vicki said, I love Fargo. I love the Fargo Park District.
Thank you. Alex Nesbitt?
I want to once again say thank you for putting this on, and I want to say thank you for all the strong candidates sitting next to me. It's really important to have this many people. I think it lifts all of us up, makes us better candidates, and it'll be a better park board because of it. So I think that that's really important. I want to thank my wife and my daughter for letting me do this, taking time away from them. That's really important. I love this town. I'm happy to make it my home. I plan on living here for the rest of my life. Having a young daughter, aging parents, once again, still not sure how to call them. I think having a perspective like mine is an excellent fit to have on the park board. A few things to point out. I'm final on the ballot. Not that that should prevent me from being successful, but please read all the way down to the list before you do make your vote. I'm passionate, practical, ready to serve, and I'm very excited to have this opportunity to give back in a meaningful way. Vote for me on June 9th. Thank you. Alex.
Thank you. Andrei Nishevsky?
I thank you very much for being here and opportunity to speak. Being a Fargo Park Board member is an opportunity for me to answer the needs of the everyday Fargo Park goers. I spend almost 12 years, almost every day in our Fargo parks, so that's my experience. I would like to continue listening to Fargo Park users and bring all the issues I heard over the years and try to fix them as much as possible. I believe that open spaces, beauty of the nature can bring more peace to our community and make it stronger and basically better living for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler Sand?
Thank you again to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event tonight, and thank you to all of you who are attending here in person or streaming it online, watching it online. It's great to see all the civic engagement. I too love Fargo, and I love Fargo Parks. They play an important role in our community and bringing us all together and providing us with opportunity and vibrancy. My campaign is about making sure that Fargo Parks are accessible to everyone and that they truly serve the entire community. We need to ensure that all residents are able to access the parks, that services are well balanced throughout the community, and that we can plan responsibly for the future instead of reacting to today's challenges. My approach is simple. Listen to residents, look at the issues from multiple perspectives, focus on practical solutions that strengthen our community. I'm ready to collaborate, ask thoughtful questions, and get to work on behalf of Fargo residents. Again, my name's Tyler Sand. I would appreciate your vote on June 9th, and you can learn more about me at tylersand.com. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our Park Board Forum for this evening. Please stick around and join us for our next forum.